Hello, my friend, wherever you are. I'm sending you love, the power of positivity, and vitamin D. But let me show you around the park. We have a bunch of people playing, having a good time over there. I think that's an elementary school. A bunch of kids in their uniform. They're just outdoor having a good time, exercising. And this is kind of like the basketball court. Yes, we are still in Cancun. And we have, kids playing, and I just finished with my workout, all of the, kind of like the very basic squatting, not sit-ups, but pull-ups and push-ups. And I use some of these machines. They're not machines, but you know what they are. Okay, my friend. So I was sitting here, after my workout, I was sitting here, the kids, they came, and I was just watching them, what were they doing? And they were just running across the field. There are, I think, instructors, kind of help them get their body going. I think they're and I was just thinking, man, I've been trying to hide away from the sun, and they're just out there having fun. You dirty peasant. And just observing the people on the basketball court and the kids they're playing. And I was thinking to myself, a month and a half ago, I was in Seattle, and right before I booked for the plane ticket, I was like, man, I'm going to be in a different country. I don't know how to speak the language. I've never been here. And after a month and a half, I'm like, wow, for a moment there, I was like, home. It felt like home, because I don't know. I guess after a while, you kind of pick up and you kind of adapt. And, I get my routine. Now I wake up, I go for a walk, I get either coffee or I get fruits and then coffee, and then I go have lunch, I go work out. It's a little bit different when I was in Merida, but it's not too much. The routines are still there, but it just, it's shifted around, but still, I still do the same thing, mind, body, and spirit, right? I'm enlightened, bitches. And I guess is a lot easier when you are single and you travel. But the thing is, well, but if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend and both of you guys are down to travel, oh my God, plan for it. Because when I booked my plane ticket, I was like, there was this fear, but the reason I was able to overcome my fear because being in Seattle, it created a lot of anxiety for me. I wasn't happy when I'm there. Everyone, especially the weather, right? The weather and, living expenses, it's just not worth it. I didn't have a car when I went back there, after I sold the RV. And it's kind of it's a different kind of mindset. Here, yes, people wear masks, but they don't bother you, it's believe it or not, I do believe that even Mexico has more freedom than some of the states back in America. But I highly encourage, if you get a chance to travel, I say do it, because you never know. Man, I was just sitting here and I was like, wow, it felt like home. Meaning that even though I don't know these people, but it's just I kind of do the same thing every day. I go to the park, I get food, I get to know the streets, and the weather is perfect. It's it's hot, but I'm getting used to it. And sometimes when we don't do it, all of the overthinking can cause us to not want to do it. And especially when our environment is kind of I still remember right before I left, my dad was like, oh my God, there's so many murders over in Mexico, you should not go there. And even with the CDC and stuff like that, they were COVID is spreading, you shouldn't travel. And believe it or not, one of the, a few of the reasons why I went, first of all, because of the weather. You guys know how much I love the sun. And then second, it's living expenses. Oh my God, it's because right after Seattle, I was gonna head back to Florida and stay there until I get my St. Kitts and Nevis passport, then renounce my U.S. citizenship and head to St. Kitts and Nevis. But then I was looking at I was looking at rent, and probably the cheapest that I found was anywhere from 800 to 1,000. That's just for rent. And then food and stuff like that is probably going to run me anywhere from 500 to 700 on a minimal. And I was like, man, I've been to Florida. I want to try somewhere else, And then I was like, okay, let's pick, because I did not want to take a PCR test. I did not want. I was going to take the antigen. Antigen is one of the faster way of getting tested, but it's only within the 24-hour. It depends on the country that you're traveling to, but usually it's within a day. But the PCR test it's kind of like for me everything with COVID is kind of nonsense, right? And all of the airlines, country that require the PCR or antigen or even vaccination. You look how far they've gone to even. But put that aside, I get, man, when I talk about it, I think people should be held accountable for giving false information, shutting down the economy and the money printing. And we know that cannot happen. We know that most likely people are not going to be held accountable because it's all related, with the economy and the Fed printing money. But one of the reasons why I went to Mexico was because there was no travel restriction. I know only Mexico and El Salvador. And, and I was like, okay, the weather is great. Living expenses are affordable. And then I have no, I don't have to take the test. And I know I'm healthy. Cha-ching, bitch, I'm rich. It's kind of like, imagine this, okay? Like, out of nowhere, if people start saying that, oh, you need to get an HIV test, even though you know that you don't have an HIV test, but what if those tests are false? And you might say, oh my God, Khan, you're crazy, bro, you're crazy. Think of it this way. If you don't have it, if you understand your body, you don't need it. But for me, like being down here, after a while, I actually get back to working out, eating the right kind of diet. And I'm really happy just being down here. And yes, just so you know, a lot of the places, people, like I said, about in Cancun, probably about 90% of the people here in the country wear masks. But a lot of the tourists, they don't, including myself. But when I go into a restaurant, it's mandatory. It's, if you don't wear it, they will tell you to wear it. But then once you wear it and you go in, you can take it off and you eat. It is what it is, It's like it's Mexico. It's not my country. Like if I go into someone's country, then I have to respect, their way of living. Wisdom. And for me, it's not that big of a deal. But when I go out and stuff like that, I have my freedom. I really enjoy it. It's very affordable. So my friend, if you travel, kind of have a goal. Like why do you want to travel there? Do you want to explore? Are you on a budget? There are always plans that can go around. Are you looking for freedom? Like for me, weather, freedom, and no travel restrictions. That's freedom for me. And when I found Mexico, I was like, even though I've never been here, but the fear was like, man, I don't know anyone. I'm gonna travel. And then a month and a half later, I'm like, wow, I love it here. From transformations to inspiration, dusted misinfo, I'm going YOLO, no FOMO, keep drilling on, focusing to the last penny, all in, publishing. So, my friend, I guess the takeaway for this video is that, if you want to travel, plan it out, where you want to go, why you want to go, are you on a budget, or you are a PIMP and you just don't care, you balling. So make a video, use the hashtag Gazillionaires Club, and I will see you in the next video. We'll get this conversation going. Much love. Ta-da.